Salve Forth Paladins, and welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command, Orion Pirates +1. I'm Rear Admiral Tarek of the Dreadnought HMS Exile, as we continue our campaign against the Lyran Star Empire. And last time, well, we were basically bullying any enemy ship that tried to reposition, and, well, we're being quite aggressive into Lyran territory. We've captured pretty much this entire triangle here. We have sort of lost the direct connection with home, but that's not proving to be too much of a problem at the moment. So without further ado, let us continue our assault on this station, which we hope to capture relatively shortly, because, well, the Empire defense on this place is very low. Before that, however, we're going to drift off to the side over here and nail some reinforcing forces who are intending to stop us from being able to annihilate that station. So, red alert and increase speed. We need to zip on in there as quickly as we can. Hopefully get on top of the enemy and annihilate them before they can actually turn on their vessels. According to long-range scans, we are looking at a whole bunch of frigates and a single heavy cruiser, all of pirate designation. So nothing too terrible, nothing too deadly. Apparently the Lyrans are now attempting to bribe pirates to do their fighting for them, since, well, they can't seem to muster up a single dreadnought in order to actually counter us. By saying that, I have just officially jinxed us into running into a whole ton of dreadnoughts, which, well, last episode we ran into none. We just ran into a whole bunch of freighters and frigates, and I think there was a battlecruiser in there. It wasn't too much of a difficult fight, if we're all completely honest with ourselves, which is a little bit disappointing, because we're here to, well, annihilate the Lyran Navy, and the Lyran Navy doesn't show up, then what are we here to annihilate? So we have even more power and getting ourselves even further up to speed. However, being a heavy dreadnought, we do not accelerate very quickly. And so even as we attempt to drive, well, it's going to take a little bit of time. Let's increase the speed of time as we try and leap on top of this target. As soon as the hellbores are charged, we will have a little bit more power, I think. Oh no, they're direct. That's as much power as I can get out of the engines. Now, facing off against pirates, they may be poorly defended. And if that is the case, then we should be able to launch our fighter squadrons against them. But I don't want to launch my fighter squadrons into a hail of flak. So we're going to figure out exactly what it is they're armed with and protecting themselves with, so that we can actually take care of things. So start to slow down. We should probably throw some power into the forward shield, but we're just going to burn things down on the first one. Point blank range, everything fired. That's a battle cruiser. Oh, it's a battle cruiser. We just one-shot it. All right, send the fighters off on attack. This one has no defense systems. And if we do a quick scan, oh, it's just gorgeous when all the fighters just unload on something. It's absolutely beautiful. So nobody... They killed him. Oh, they killed him with 2 sets of hellbores. I love these ships. They are... The Hornet 3s are just amazing. They are beyond wonderful in every description, and I love having them here. I hope that we don't have to lose any of them, because they're too good to lose. And just watch how much firepower that they can actually dish out, even after they've expelled their hellbores. 48 damage from a single fighter squadron, annihilated the other one. And now we get to come in and attempt to do the same thing. And we succeed. Final target. We're going to call our fighter squadrons home, because we have just, well, come through here and annihilated everything that could possibly exist. So if we can get them back home in time... Ooh, the hull of that ship is drifting right. If we can get it back home in time, they won't actually take any damage, and they will be back to full strength by the time the next mission begins, which is a very useful trait of fighter squadrons. Oh, they just... Ooh, he's having a bad day. We are almost at point-blank range, but we're going to wait until we are actually at point-blank range, mainly so we can do as much damage as possible, and because, well... Our phasers weren't ready, but we didn't need them because we had enough hellbores and fusion cannons into the fight that we could completely wipe that out. Our forward shields did get down to yellow, which is not really concerning, but evidence of just how powerful these ships explode. The antimatter reactors within them are quite deadly. Alright, neutralize the tile there, and we're going to keep the pressure going on. We're not going to do a base assault if we can help it. If we don't do a base assault, and we just continue to do everything other than a base assault, we can flip the tile, keep the station, and that serves as a jumping off point for us for the rest of the campaign, which I would really like to do. Alright, so let us red alert and increase speed, because now we are getting into an actual battle, and with that in mind, let us overload the fusion beams. We need them at maximum power, and so overloading them is the perfect way to do that. Fusion cannons, I've mentioned this in several episodes before, but if you're just jumping in here for the very first time, hi, welcome. Maybe you should go back to episode 1 of the season, or episode 1 of any season, really, but this season would be a cool one. I'm told that the Hydrants are very much beloved by the community, as, well, you guys are all demonstrating. It's awesome. The fusion cannons basically are point-blank range weapons only. Someone made the excellent comparison. They're a carronade from the Age of Sail. Basically, they're a large-bore, heavy-shot firing weapon that is, well, has absolutely minuscule range, and that's exactly what they do. So one of the traits of overloading a weapon system is generally you reduce its maximum range down to about 8. Well, since the fusion cannon has a terrible maximum range, or terrible damage at maximum range anyway, and you'll probably never fire them beyond a range of about 1.5 to 2, and 2 is getting out there to be a little bit of a long shot. You don't want to shoot that far. Then you may as well overload them, because it doesn't take that much extra power, and the amount of firepower that it increases it by is huge, and you don't really lose any of the effectiveness because you were never going to use them out to a range of beyond 8 anyway, unless you were an idiot, or, you know, the AI. Or absolutely, truly desperate. I gotta say, on occasion, you might be just so incredibly desperate to do anything you possibly can at maximum range that you'll fire them. You're not going to do anything except make yourself feel better, but you can do it. Let's also not forget to make our electronic countermeasures to maximum power. It's not super effective against Lyrans, unfortunately. Because they have expanding sphere generators, it creates a bubble of energy around the ship. They don't gotta aim that except with the ship. As long as they run into you, they will deal the damage that they're looking to deal. So electronic countermeasures being super high really is more trying to counter their phaser system, which it's a good idea to counter enemy phasers, but the most powerful weapon that they have at their disposal in general, although I think this is it's a PF tender, is the expanding sphere generator right here. At point blank range, a range of 0, in addition to a fully powered capacitor, this thing will deal 20 damage to you when it hits. He's got 2 of them, that's 40 damage. So that's basically 2 plasma torpedoes that he can shoot in your face that cannot miss, do not ever run down, and are completely ignoring any sort of electronic countermeasure. It's an interestingly useful weapon system. I wouldn't say incredibly useful. It's sort of flexible in a way that, well, you can attack or defend with it. The problem is you can attack or defend with it, or else you're going to basically waste it. He is drifting along at quite the high speed, and he's being somewhat intelligent by trying to pull away out of our fusion cannon range, but I anticipate he will attempt to turn in at any moment, because that's just what the AI will do. Yup. Turning right in on us. And showed an open side. That was not clever, sir. So we were able to just completely knife through his shields and deal quite a bit of damage to him. Tempted to drop a mine. Hey, let's do that. So a whole bunch of pseudo-frigates are currently not chasing it. The problem is that they're very basic Lyran interceptors, and they're terrible. They have a single disruptor, as well as a pair of phaser 2s and a pair of phaser 3s. These are just awful ships in general. There are better options. They're not much better. The best Lyran one basically comes to the fight. Ooh, that was an interesting maneuver that you attempted to do. The best one that the Lyrans have comes with an expanding sphere generator, and even that is pathetic compared to, well, plasma races, because the plasma races will bring to the fight ships with multiple plasma F torpedoes. Was not expecting that. That was cool. I'm sorry. But a plasma-armed pseudo-frigate is bringing multiple plasma F torpedoes. And when I say multiple, I mean 4 or 5. And a cloaking device. And phasers. And halfway decent shields. The Lyrans just don't get that. Empire defense is down to 9. They are becoming vulnerable. We're going to pop out over here, do a little bit more damage to the front line, shoving them back. Ooh, they're pushing back into our territory. They do not want to go down without a fight, but we have a scouting mission out here to figure out exactly what it is that just took all that territory. We're going to try and cut them off at the knees. Well, actually, we're going to try and figure out who they are, and then think about it. It was a frigate. It was a pirate frigate. So a pirate frigate has apparently set the entire Hydrant fleet on the run. Let's overload the fusion beams, even though we honestly do not need to. We do not need this kind of weapon system. Maximum speed of time, this is going to be an easy fight. We're just going to basically run him over. Not even going to bother with electronic countermeasures, frankly. I'm just going to buff up the forward shield so that we don't get any dents on the front of the ship. And that's about it. How much power do I currently have? We're going to sap that budget, the shield budget that we constantly steal from, in order to take a little bit less damage protection from the front for a little bit more engine power going forward. So all weapons are selected, all weapons are charged, and all we need to do is get basically right on top of... Oh, I almost forgot. That would have been embarrassing. Turn on the deep scan, because we actually do need to scan him before we annihilate him. It shouldn't be all that hard. Okay, we have all the data that we need. Oh, you cloak, sir. He cloaks and has a fairly powerful plasma torpedo. Okay, we'll shut off the deep scan. We don't need the information anymore. And we are going to stick at the maximum speed of time. He does have a plasma F torpedo, which is pretty cool. The problem is, we have a lot of forward shield power. And we can basically stop him from attempting to do anything. Getting a couple more hits on him with our Hellbore cannons. And then the fusions and, yeah, all the phasers. Basically, he didn't stand much of a chance. that might be a fight you could win, potentially, if you were lucky, but probably not against another human player. If the roles were reversed, I wouldn't want to take that fight, but it might be possible with the cloaking device. 320 prestige, apparently, is what that was worth, and we'll pop back in here. Unfortunately, no combat. Back over here, a convoy raid or an asteroid base assault. I'm going to take the convoy raid because asteroid base assaults tend to take a while. And by take a while, I mean like 5 to 10 minutes, and I prefer not to. Ooh, heavy cruiser, point-blank range, has already deployed pseudo-frigates, so we got sort of the lucky spawn. Overload the fusion cannons. I'm going to want them to full power just as soon as we can. Start turning in towards the enemy. We will also launch our fighters just as soon as we can. The AI gets to cheat. They get to launch their fighters immediately, whereas we have to wait until our shuttle bay fully charges. It's not irritating, but it is one of those things you got to keep in mind. We're looking at a fairly sizable combo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Interesting. Now, we can't launch our fighters right away. We got to keep that in mind, because the problem becomes the fighters are going to ignore us in this battle. What our fighter craft are going to do is they will immediately beeline it for the convoy. Can't control it, can't stop them. It's more than a little irritating. So fusion cannons are fully charged. Let's get a little bit more speed going on. How's our forward shield reinforcement? Quite a bit of energy. Let's zap that down to, yeah, that's 7.5 is good enough. That'll take light disruptor fire without too much trouble. We're going to wade through his pseudo-frigates and just going to dive on top of him. He is a CFF, which I believe he is a F-type fast cruiser. That's the best I've got for you. Is it a single or no? That's a double ESG as well as 2 disruptors. He is packing a pretty decent phaser armament. That's not terrible for a Lyran vessel. And he's just turned on the ESG, and I didn't quite break it. So the ESG has an interesting weakness to it. You see, the moment that the ESG gets shot at by a Hellbore cannon. Guys, I said kill the Wild King, not... Okay. They are so concerned with my well-being that they're wasting all of their heavy ordnance trying to kill incredibly weak pseudo-frigates. But, hey, at least it's the thought that counts, and they cared enough in order to attempt that. Yeah, all that. Lot of phaser firepower. This is an interesting perspective that I didn't consider attempting during our Lyran campaign, was to just, you know, pack it in with a whole ton. Phaser. There we go. Told him there. Pick one of their phaser boats. Because phasers are incredibly flexible weapons. I mean, you can see that while using them incredibly effectively, and they're very, well, flexible weapons. I don't got to be facing directly at him in order to be using it. I only need to be facing in the vague direction of him, although I would like to pull through and get all the way. So this port shield is guarding me, and phaser systems are almost charged for another pass. As you can see, our fighters have decided that they would rather go off and fight over here rather than actually help me out like I've ordered them to. It can be somewhat irritating to work with fighters in this game on occasion. We're going to go within a range of 5 again. That's about when our phasers start becoming a little bit more effective, and so we're just going to slowly, casually get ourselves in. He's got ESG. See if I can't dent it up. Forward shield is down. Hit him with a Hellbore. And one of the Lyran freighters is already down. Oh, come on, I have a fusion cannon ready to go. There we go. Fired and did basically nothing. So he's been pretty badly damaged. He's not having a good day of it. He's down to a speed of 12, so he's lost a little bit of power. How's my fighters doing? Let's pop over here. You're doing really good, actually. Where's my other fighter squadron? You're doing good. You're still doing pretty good. We're going to have to call them home sometime soon as we slowly not try to show our weak open forward shield. Do I have a shot on that corner? Not yet. No, he turned in order to protect it. So a little bit of that, getting some more power system damage on him. His ESG is completely down. Gatling phaser range we are going to close to. There we go, causing more. Ooh. Showed my forward shield. Probably shouldn't have done that. And port side fusion cannon battery. Come on, all of them. There we go. Oh, in addition, we also have Hellbore available. How are you doing over there, fighters? Still doing okay? Still alive? Lost a Gatling phaser. 3 freighters have been destroyed. Fix that, fix that. I don't want my ship busting out underneath me. And he's basically done for. I'm just gonna wait. There we go. Lovely. Okay, where's this convoy's head? Is it you? It is. Okay, how's my fighters? Have they returned to me? I doubt it. Fighters are weak. Fighters are getting kind of weak. So you're gonna come right on home. Return to the mothership. I don't want you dying. It's very important to me that you live and survive and continue to be amazing and awesome in all your glory instead of having to go home, because I'd like to take this tile before I have to go home. So the phaser capacitor needs a little bit more power. Just get it full. There it goes. Full juice. We gotta leap on forward. Fighters doing the business, as you can see, lashing out against the free trader. And they're probably gonna annihilate him on this pass. Although we are gonna call them back after they shoot. Alright, you know what, everybody? Just get home. Alright, so there is a single one left, a single free trader up here, and then of course we have this little guy back here who's chugging along. He wants to get home as well. Fighters have already done a great job of basically setting the enemy on a position where they probably won't be able to win. That's the goal anyway. So first group of fighters is returning to the launch bays shortly. Come on, get in here. There we go, that's the one. And the other one we will vacuum up into our other launch bay. And we're good. Okay, so fighters return. We don't have to worry about that. We did take a little bit of a denting, which is not tremendous. We would prefer not to take any damage in this ship at all. After all, we want to be out here as long as possible, and the easiest way to ensure that you're out here as long as possible is you don't take any damage. So we're basically going to catch up to this one, this FT2, and then we're going to turn around and annihilate this PTR2. Both of them are armored freighters, so they're a little bit tougher than your average freighter, but we should be able to handle it. All phaser 3s, okay, so as long as we fire outside of a range of 3, we should be fine. So I'm going to close to 3 point something, and that should be good enough. 3 point, there we go. Good enough. Alright, turn. On to the last one. Start to slow down, because he's going to come to us. He is single-minded in his determination to follow the convoy route directly out of here. Even though there's not much of a convoy left, it's just you. Yeah, buddy, I think you may have wanted to take a little bit better evasive action. When you've got a dreadnought bearing down on you, things start to become a problem. So we are going to get ourselves on a nice little intercept course, start to slow down, so we have a lot of power in the forward shield. Lots of power in that forward shield to basically ignore all of his incoming fire. He did have AMS, so an anti-missile system would have been useful. Except we're not fighters, and so not so useful against us. So that's a convoy, pretty much completely taken care of, as well as the fast pseudo-frigate carrier. 358 prestige is our lovely reward. Tile is down to an Empire defense of 25, but this one's down to 9. We're going to dive on top of this. Hopefully we don't get a base assault. We want to take this thing intact. No mission. That's another no mission result out of that one. We'll take a straight-up patrol. Enigma would be better. Enigma basically gives you a free first strike against an enemy, but where's the fun in that? Alright, set ourselves up to our standard battle stations, overloading all the weapon systems so that we'll be ready as soon as possible, waiting for the shields to come back on, and that's our maximum speed of about like 5. Full speed of time as we basically just chug along, charging all the weapon systems. 6 fusion cannons are selected and ready to rock. Well, not quite yet. We do have a dreadnought, so an enemy dreadnought has finally decided to show up. He's a DNHE, he's a heavy dreadnought. Okay, we got a battle. Alright, electronic countermeasures to full power. Forward shields to maximum rating. Anything you can get into it. Let's speed up to an actual combat assault speed. Show me power. Okay, get me a little bit slower. There we go. 9 points of power on the forward shield. Gets us almost up to a speed of 15. We do not want to go direct in on him, unfortunately. If he's going to fire like that, maybe I do. So he has 6 ESGs, I believe, which is 120 damage if he can get it off on us. So we would prefer not to take that. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Let's go fighters. Set to harass mode. Want to keep them slightly at range. They're going to pepper them with hellbore cannons, and hopefully we'll be able to generate openings for them. They're going to fire first. I got a shot with the hellbore. I really do. Now. Oh, not good accuracy at all. And I made a good angle. That's the issue. Turn away, and... Okay, was able to bounce it off one of our non-primary shields. I suppose the forward starboard shield is a primary shield, but it's less important than the forward shield. Oh, he's just going ahead with the most annoying tactic in the universe. Able to get my rear shield gone. Oh, luckily, we were very lucky on that one. What the heck, buddy? Rear shield has just gone down based on pure mine assault, and it's clear we don't have armor based on how much damage we're starting to take. Drop a mine. So this is going to buzz out that shield for the most part. Got to come completely around. Oh, he's so many of these. Start stabilizing the warp core and get ourselves up with a little bit more defense going on here. Our phasers are ready to go. I haven't used them. Fire! I mean, we're close enough. I was underestimating, or over it? No, underestimating, definitely. He's going for another one. Slow down. Get the bow on. Okay, get us down beneath the speed of 4. Oh, we are going to be so close to avoiding that. Get his phaser shot in on there. Nice. Okay, we're starcastling up a little bit. Power repair on that one. Fighters, it's time to dive in. He's just used the last of his, so go for the attack. I want your Gatling phasers involved in this one. And if my Hellbores can come in on time, I can actually use them in a supporting role. Fusion cannons are just about ready, but I don't want to use them. Not from this range. Get some more phaser fire in on there. I'm hoping that these die off relatively soon. Otherwise, I'm going to have to call the fighters home. And I don't want to do that. Hellbores are about to come online. That'll lock it down. There we go. The Hellbores didn't need to hit. They just needed to cause some damage. So the fighters have been launched on an assault mission. He's got one one ESG left, which is a bit unfortunate. Let's get that other Gatling phaser back online. How much power do I currently have in the Star Castle? Nothing, I assume. Okay, good run on there. 61 damage in. Second run. Good damage there. Oh, lovely. Pull him back now. So they've done what they needed to do. They've basically opened him up pretty badly. He's going. That was the desperate attempt to shut down something really quick. So we've got him, I think. Yeah, looking at the MSD, he's got basically nothing left. Good. Whew, that was a tight one. We had no armor going into that fight. We basically had used it all. And that initial... Well, not initial. That bombing run that he did, just continually dropping mines on our stern shield, that was a powerful technique. And that's something that we know that they can do. It's just something they haven't done for a little while. So I was a little bit surprised. Alrighty. So our heavy dreadnought has proven to be superior to their heavy dreadnought. Our fighters proved to be once again incredibly decisive. And I am always happy to be able to prove to them that fighters are superior to their ESG. Mainly because we have a weapon perfectly designed to shut off the ESG, that's the Hellbore. 312 prestige is our reward. The tile is down to an Empire defense of 20. This, we've got to get some damage on them, but the missions just ain't showing up. But that's going to do it for today's episode. I've been Tirak. If you like what you've been seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to receive a notification every time I release one of these videos, press that little bell icon, leave a comment, and I will see you all in the next episode.